live. Yeah, yeah, we going live. Hey, hey, we going live. Yeah, yeah, we going live. Yeah, yeah, we going. Yeah, yeah, we going. Yeah, 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 we going live. From the 50-yard line, we going live. From the 50-yard line, we going live. From the 50-yard line. Hey.
Mental health moment. Usually when we do mental health moments, we talk about someone who's overcome some type of mental hurdle, some type of mental health issue, and defeated isn't a word, but they've put themselves into a place where we can look at it and say, hey, here's a light shown on someone who may have dealt with mental health issues, and this is how they were able to progress.
Yeah.
Right? This one isn't one of those.
No.
But there are lessons to learn here, I think, and there are some things to tease out of this that that can help. Now, this is a podcast where we talk about athletes, but there are things to tease out here that can help, anyone.
Right. That's right.
And we don't know all of the facts, but what we do know is that Rajon Rondo received an order of protection. There was an order of protection against him from his children's mother, based on the some alleged comments that he made in threatening her that he would kill her. Now, those are very serious allegations, and careful to say alleged because we don't know what happened, but that's what's being reported.
That's what's being reported.
So this isn't something new. This isn't the first time we've heard something like this, allegedly.
No.
And we don't know Rajon Rondo personally, but it's like when we see certain athletes, we see,
it's a commonality.
Yeah.
There's a commonality to this story. It's not his alone.
Right.
And we hear it so often, unfortunately, with athletes. And I feel like the reason we spotlighted this particular story is because it just brings up the point of this need to first of all, I feel like there's a need to do a better job in sports, period, in teaching emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
But I also feel like there is a huge disparity in helping athletes compartmentalize, if you will, their emotions. Because the emotions that they have when they're playing their sport are intense, sometimes violent because of the sport they play. Just not good for everyday functioning in the world, right? And so when they lose it emotionally, have, these outbursts or whatever, it typically is equivalent to what you see when they play the sport in the way that they respond to things, right? And until we get to a point where they can, like I'll use to compartmentalize and say, this is not, I can't have that same level of, I don't even know what word, like what emotion, the emotion that you have in that particular sport or when you're on that playing surface is not necessary in this situation we'll just stick to the story with your baby mama, with your baby's mama. You know what I mean? It's not, it's just not. And the outcome of that is statements like, I'm gonna kill you, right? And it's just, or some of the other horrific things we've seen where they, we've seen Ray Rice and how it was with him and his woman. Like we've heard the stories, right, of how I can't think of his name right now, from the Seahawks, that we've seen the evidence of what she looked like after he beat her, right? It's just, but they're taking that same energy and applying it to regular life, and you cannot do that. You cannot do that. Now, all of them are not just naturally built that way. So some of them, they just naturally go back to being, okay. But for the ones who that's just been your go-to and how you respond and everything you do is in that vein, it's just not healthy. And so I hope we do a better job of teaching emotional intelligence and preparing these athletes for real life. Here.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I got.
Yeah. Nah, this is my only thing to it is I know that this is it when it happens in sports, it's kind of magnified. Domestic violence and these things happen in all parts of society, but it gets magnified when we're talking about sports and these athletes who we don't expect to deal with stuff like this. We think that money is kind of the cure-all, and because they make so much money that they shouldn't have to deal with stuff like this. And I think
that's right, Drew. Right. That's right.
You said nope.
He said, That's right.
So I think in continuing to hear these stories, like I think they'll we have to get these sports leagues involved in some way to pushing them to get some sort of help, because it's difficult, even if you aren't like that, it's difficult to compartmentalize.
It is. I don't care who you are. So
right.
Yeah.
And so you have to show all of this aggression on the field, and it's celebrated in this arena. It's certainly frowned upon when you go through everyday life. But a lot of athletes end up being coddled, and their bad behavior gets, depending on their level of talent, their bad behavior gets swept under the rug. And so this is something that just can't be ignored. And we're using this Rajon Rondo story, and again, we don't know exactly all of the facts of what happened, but we're using this story, to kind of highlight that this needs to be addressed, because it's becoming more and more prevalent.
That's right. We hear you, Drew. We hear you. It's just ugly. I know.
I don't like it.
I don't like it either, buddy. Me either. All right. So our feel-good final thought this week.
Yes.
So we do these stories. We talk about these athletes in there. This person holds a special place for me. Wardell Stephen Curry. Just graduated from his alma mater, Davidson. And he graduated with the sociology degree. And he had to write a thesis paper, and his thesis choice was gender inequality in sports. How much do we love him? Yes. I love it.
It's so hard to dislike Steph Curry. And I be wanting to. I really do.
Oh no, never ever. So yeah, I'm proud for him, and good job. I know Jerome Bettis also just graduated from college. So I love the idea that so many of these athletes don't just say, you know, yeah, I'm leaving, but I'm not gonna ever go back. And I love that they, you know what I mean? They go back and they get the, it's just an accomplishment. They don't need a money, they don't need a job. It's the accomplishment of it all. And the completion. So it's the completion, I'll say that. The completion of the starting of something. And that is huge. And I feel like that is something that is needs to be celebrated more when this is happening.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, shout out to you, Wardell.
Okay. All right. Show picks.
What you watching?
Listen, I got one on here, but I got two. So I'm gonna start with the first one. Lil Jon wants to do what?
Oh man.
On HGTV. This show is amazing. I love watching him and his partner as she figures out how to bring his crazy ideas to life. Mm-hmm. And every time I'm thinking, what is he talking about? This sounds ridiculous. And by the time it's done, I'm like, wow, look at what he did. Look at what they put together. So I love this show because I'm an HGTV junkie. And so I love this show. And I won't tell y'all the other reason why I will support this show. I won't. I'll tell you offline.
Okay.
And the other show that I just finished watching, it had me hooked from yesterday. I couldn't stop until I finished today. The Lincoln Lawyer.
Lincoln Lawyer, yes. You've been talking about that.
The movie was good. I love myself some Matthew McConaughey. Okay. Mm-hmm. But this show is so good. It was really good. Yeah. So what you watching?
Other than on season 2. I know I talked about it last week. I'm on season 2 of Put a Ring on It. This show
still haven't been able to make myself watch it, Jared.
You know, it's one of those things where the show, I think as the seasons go, it's going to get more and more outlandish. I think one of the reasons why I continue to watch, because it started off outlandish and I could see where they're going with it.
So ratchetness just begets ratchetness.
Yeah. I think the first season, I think that what they were trying to do was good. The first season.
Yeah.
I think the second season they kind of moved on for more entertainment value, and that's when I'm like, all right.
So this is like what is it? Hip hop, that land, love and hip hop. Yeah, see, like I was digging it at first, and then y'all just got foolish, and I just had to stop watching.
Exactly. So ironically, on season 2 of Put a Ring on It, I'm sure you know of the group Field Mob.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So
I'm so sick of it. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
Darian and his girlfriend of 14 years is on there.
Did you say girlfriend of 14?
Girlfriend of 14 years. They're on there together. And also, I know that you know this name because he played for the Falcons, but Eric Weems was also an HBCU graduate. I played against him he was at Bethune-Cookman.
Okay.
He and his girlfriend are on there. And so, you know, they went with some people that are kind of known. I'm sure that kind of
got a little clout.
Yeah. And some of this stuff is a bit outlandish, you know, like some of it feels like it's being played up, whereas the first season felt genuine. It felt like everybody was kind of going through what they were going through. So yeah, season 2 Put a Ring on it. I don't know if I'm gonna watch season 3.
I'm quiet. You got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got it.
But yeah, so that's it for me.
All right.
Oh,
so
man, we are at the end.
Yeah.
I don't think I said this in the beginning, but this is episode 161.
Yep.
If you would like to get in touch with us, our email address is field2therealpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to reach out to us on the socials, our Twitter is @field2therealp1. IG is @field2therealpodcast. Our Facebook page is right there to the left of Stephanie. Field, no number, Field to the Real Podcast for Facebook, and YouTube, Field to the Real Podcast. You can go to our Facebook page, you can like it. You can see our videos that come straight from our YouTube page. And if you go to our YouTube page, you can subscribe, share, like, comment, and go hit that notification bell so that anytime we release a video, it hits right to your feed and you'll see our faces pop up. But as always, we truly appreciate you guys for continuing to listen, continuing to support.
Thank you. Yes.
Definitely reach out to us. You know what I'm saying? If you feel like, you want to be on the show, if you want to, if you have some suggestions, only respectful suggestions. If you have some critiques, only respectful critiques. But yeah, this is the Field to the Real Podcast, and we are out.
Tell them bye, Drew. Peace.
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 Put the cameras on me, 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 put the cameras on me.